Hello buddy, how's it going today? It's Frankie here and I'm back with another movie review. And wow, I got to applaud, Sean Patrick Cannon for making this movie. I mean, it's one of those movies that took me by surprise and I never expected it to, be the way it was. Especially the second half of the movie. It's called The Third Guest, right? The first half is quite poor, it's just quite bland. The acting was quite poor to begin with. When I saw the start of it, I was just like, yeah, it's going to be one of those where bits and pieces happen. It looks quite, nothing's really catching my eye. But when it gets from half an hour in the movie, that's when it gets good. Now, I'm just going to go through a bit just to help all of you lot out, just to skip that. I mean, obviously, watch the full thing, obviously, but I'm just letting you know, half an hour in the movie, it's quite poor. It's just like, it starts off with Evie and Hart. And for me, it sounded like the actors in there were part of a rom-com. It just felt like a comedy and not just a full horror with the way that they were acting and portraying their lines. And, it doesn't feel right to me. Now, the way the actors were, it's just kind of, this is how the lines went. They were like, oh, but Arn is the guy that's like helping out with the production so for Ghost Hunt or whatever it is. And they're like, oh, we really need this, man. Come on. Just help us out here. Was like, I'm not quite sure about this, but I have to have a word with, with my boss or whoever it is. The guy that plays Arn, I think it's Arn, is played by Clint Carmichael, I think his name is. I heard that surname. I'd seen him somewhere. I just have to put my finger on where I've seen him before. But yeah, it just starts off like that, and he talks to someone called Nancy as well on the phone. You don't get through those boring parts. And it starts about, then Evie has flashbacks when she's in the car about her daughter Faith that passed away, and she keeps like hearing her voice and seeing her. So yeah, that's just like one of the standard things. But when they get to the house, that's when things get serious. They talk to this woman called Margaret, and these characters, these actors are not made for horror. You have this person called Margaret that's like, don't go in that house. It's very bad. I'm warning you. You would seem to think she would have showed a bit more like deadliness in her voice. Like you got to stay away from the house. Make sure there's only hidden secrets. I'm warning you. The only type of character that actually felt like that they felt that they fit the whole description in that movie is that Asian woman that came in, and she was just like asking, Evie, can I sign this book? And I read the website. I know it's not your fault. It's really not your fault. I think she had a name called Faith, which turned out to be fake or something like that. She's the only one in that movie where she actually showed a bit more horror. But yet, let me get on to the rest of it. So, from half an hour of the movie, she has this flashbacks of like someone called Karlov, and she sees her daughter, and then she sees like dead bodies. And then it gets to the house part where things start getting very weird and trippy. The guy has to go away for a while. And, he has to go away for, I don't know what he went away for again, I kind of forgotten. And then she seems to walk on to explore the town because she was hearing voices and footsteps. She wants to explore the town, and the people are weird. I didn't see many people there anyway, it's not that she spoke of. And she talks to this barmaid, and yeah, sort of telling her, she stayed in like the magician's house, Karlov's house or something. And her reaction was just like, nope, walked away. Went back to the house, and a scene where the guy wasn't quite right. I just knew there was something wrong with the guy when his whole personality and persona started changing. Yeah, it just didn't feel right. It felt very weird. It freaked me out a little bit actually. And then, something was happening like where I don't know what was going on that made them leave the house. And then in the car's battery went dead. And then he accidentally stabbed her. And that's when the tension built up very well in this movie. And then they kept seeing the Karlov dude again. And Hart did as well. Hart's a dude, by the way. He was seen the same dude as well as she was. So it's kind of like, okay, that's, his house. I can't say we were trying to like want them out type of thing. But he was tormenting them. You see, like those scenes where she was having a flashback, that she was watching her, like, parts of her life basically. It was very trippy. Then she started seeing Karlov again with that evil laugh, and that scene where, there was that she got up from bed and Hart had his eyes open like he was about to like murder her or something. And then there was a tiny bit of an R word scene into it. I don't want to mention it on here, in the shower, and he saw Karlov as well. I have no idea what on earth is going on from here. Right, she was running. It just got very trippy. Like there was a scene where she saw a duplicate of herself that was smiling evilly back at her, and then that scene where she was like going into like the woods or something like that, and she just like, he was about to kill her, but she just escaped, and he was looking, but then you see like another version of him. You see like 3 other versions of him, which I never seem to understand. I'm sorry if I get my words jumbled up and the scenes all different and all mixed up. It's just that there's a lot to take in these movies. And yeah, so she begins to go back to the house and she hides, but then she sees like, then it gets all trippy and all creepy. I think Faith, whoever was telling her, you're safe in here now, and then she had to quickly hide into like a wardrobe or something. And then this guy started like he was obviously possessed somewhere. He started talking all evil and evil, not satanic, but just more like evil, like, oh, that your daughter got in the way, but you didn't care about it. You were meant to be my effing wife. It actually freaked me out. This movie has terrible acting, but I've got to tell you, the graphics and quality ain't actually half bad for a movie like this. It's a bit confusing, so that is a bit disappointing, but I kind of like movies like that. It makes me like ask more what's going on. And then you see how Evie see her daughter, and she started to get freaked out, and he started to open up the wardrobe door, and he wants to stab her basically. And then I think she sees like Faith just sitting down in the bed, and Evie stabs her. Now, in these sort of movies, even action movies, any sort of genre movie, they usually take the knife and just like that. She took the knife and it was just slow motion, which I never understood that part of the scene right there. Then she tried to take him out the house, into the car, and then, I don't know. She did see like in that scene, she did see a few people that were killed in the house. I think Karlov was the one that murdered those people. She saw that Margaret there too. Someone murdered Margaret. And then the camera, as Evie looked, she saw like photos of her. This movie's like, it's making me, I don't understand, making me go mad a little bit actually. You would think she's mental, but again, the end of these type of movies is still not very clear to me as such. It's strange. And then takes him, and then it just ends there. Then you think, oh, what happened? It cuts back to her in that in the bookshop where people are signing her book, and you think, oh, that's nice. It must have ended there. Not exactly. It didn't exactly end there. She left wherever she left, and she saw Karlov. Okay. It just cuts to to those two like hugging, but he's squeezing her tight and he fell in the bed. I assume she was under his possession because he couldn't really move an inch. And then she saw the woman that was there. I think was it the barmaid? I'm not quite sure. A barmaid pretended to be Faith or something, her daughter. It's very confusing to me. And he said, "Hi, my house now." And then some random dude came in from behind him. I don't know what was going on there. And then starts like trying to kill her or something. And then she wakes up. And then she was like reading, and then he was reading that, that looking through the book, and he called and said, "Oh, this is the book here. Very nice read. Well, what did you want from this?" Like they're like tormenting them to death. I've said movies of torment, but not of this nature with the psychology effect. It was quite. If I was Faith, if I was Evie, I'd be confused too. And he was like, "Oh, she's my daughter. I don't care about money." Oh, but you want that, but they're getting it, aren't they? Somehow that darn book, I just don't understand what's going on. And then she has a chat with this person right here, just the same woman, and says, "Oh, I'm Faith. Don't you know me?" And then Evie starts saying, "You're not my daughter. You're not my daughter." But how do you know? You don't know. This is where the acting actually gets better. I think from after half an hour, at least 70% of the movie, the acting gets better. And then she sort of says, "Oh, well, how do you know? You don't even know me. You never really cared. All you care about that stupid book. Instead of look after your daughter." This is like, it freaked me out. I've got to say, I admire that. I admire the whole, like, how they use the visuals in this type of movie to freak me out and to get me. Didn't need jump scares for this movie. This movie already tormented me. And then you see a scene of like her just in like a hospital bed, and you're thinking, what on earth is happening here? And he's like a nurse talking to her about, she's not suicide, It was just like a broken bone here and stuff like that. So it's not that at all, Why not to bring a body like this in? And then Howard said, "I was there." And he was just saying, he didn't really say much. He just said thank you, and he left. And he came across the same woman again. "Belle, what the hell do you want?" And then she was just like, "Oh, you didn't care about it, did you? She was just a waste of space, that Faith. She wasn't she? She just wanted you and stuff. I thought, how terrible is that?" Something like that, to really get on his nerves. And then she gave him some sort of like, what was it, a check that you see him giving her after she left the bookstore. Excuse me. In that scene where you thought it was over, basically, but it wasn't. I think that was the right scene. I think that probably did come after that scene, and yeah, it's just weird as hell. I mean, there was also a scene where that she was like, where she woke up in the car, and it was like he said, "Oh, come on, we got a job to do, come on." In that moment, you're thinking, "Oh, she probably hallucinated everything. She probably just had it all in her head." No, it actually continued from there, and again, you think she woke up again. It's like, "Oh, help me, take me to hospital, please," and he strangles her. And you see a scene of her just on a noose. This movie is very disturbing. It really caught me off guard. I thought this movie was going to be something good. That's why I watched it at first. But the first half of the movie, I was like, this is going to be straight up trash. This is what I'm talking about. There's movies that get good in the last 40-50 minutes, and that's what I like. At least it gets good. Not like some of those other movies I watched recently where it's just 1 out of 10. This is definitely more than that. At long last, this movie's above a 1. Big clap, man. Big clap for the producer and director of this, because this, I know I've said his name earlier, I think in the start of the video. I'm going to congratulate him again, because this movie was decent enough. You could have had better actors. You could have made a bit more of a clear story. You could have made the first half of the movie had bits and pieces in it, but yeah. Wow. What else can I say? And and then the end part is just like a family just going to the house that they stayed at. It ended right there. I mean, it's a typical ending to a movie where you see like new characters come to the house and you think, okay, it's going to happen to them next. It's like a cycle. Wow. I suppose that movie was basically about how the demons are just torturing them for their own mistakes. That's what I'm gathering from it, because they just haunted them. If I miss out some scenes, I do apologize. There's a lot that goes in these movies. Ah, man. I just couldn't. Now this movie, I've got to say, this movie's going to be in my mind now, because this movie had good visual effects, and at least the camera angles were decent. Like the previous movie I watched. Yeah. There's the only negative I could say is the storyline needs to be a bit more clear. The acting needs to be better. Had better actors in the whole movie in any sort of movie like this, and it's going to be good. But it was actually a decent movie. I can't lie. I wouldn't say it's a great movie. Probably maybe decent. Probably people might find it a good movie. People might not find this movie good. So this is where it gets questionable. Right. Rating. Here we go. Rating. I was going to say this was below 5. Because I thought, okay, this movie could have some good parts to it. It's definitely more than a 5 now. It definitely proved me wrong, and I like that. I like it. It's like with that movie. What's that movie? Exhibit. Oh man, there's Exhibit B or something where there was zombies at the end, but it actually escalated pretty quickly in the last half an hour. I'm not a fan of zombies, but movies like that though, especially towards the end part, is when it gets good. That's when it ranks up a bit. This movie kind of reminded me of what was it? Don't Look Now, Don't Look Now, something with that drunk dude that I think he killed the girl and that he didn't realise it, and the girl was like a spirit or something the entire time, and it got trippy. That's what the movie was similar of. But I gotta say, this movie didn't disappoint after half an hour. It definitely got me hooked, definitely got me intrigued. It is a must watch. I say for people that, you know, doing a watch and I messed up for them. But like I said in my other videos, you gotta watch the movie first and actually see my review. You can do it the other way around if you want, just to gather your thoughts on it. People might not like this movie because it's just a bit jumbled. It's all confusing. The acting's bad. Listen, hey, the acting may not be that good. The movie made up for it. The visuals and everything else did. So look, the review for this. Oh man, I wasn't gonna give it this number, but you know what? I'm being a bit generous because this movie had me by surprise. 7 out of 10. I can't see it being any higher than that. It certainly had some good qualities to it, good aspects to it. Acting could have been better, but I gotta say, it did improve a little bit. Graphics wise as well, good. Camera angles, without really talk about, is good. Yeah, you know, got to say could have more in it, but you know what? It was all around a decent movie. So yeah, 7 out of 10 it is. If you enjoyed the video, please give a like, comment, share what you know, subscribe, hit the notification below. So I'll see you in my next video.